Hey, what's up? Dave with Brazos Valley Strength, and it is one day after SBD Sheffield, and I'm feeling kind of fired up and motivated. So I'm going to do a little blend of videos here, kind of half vlog stuff about my training and kind of where things are going, and hopefully it'll be an extension of the other stuff that I'll talk about in this video. So this is a video that, or the subject of this video, that I've tossed around doing for years, and the timing just kind of never was right. But post Sheffield, I'm feeling maybe all of this stuff, a little bit more, and essentially just the concept of external motivation. And I think the video title is going to be ego lifting, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing to me, and I think broadly what I'm talking about here, and I think kind of the way that people can recognize it, ego lifting, external motivation is essentially that the goal, the outcome that we're looking for and that motivates us in our training is literally popularity or success, social media fame, like all of that stuff actually being a driver for progress. And the decisions that we make in training with that outcome in mind, my argument is that's a good thing. And I think that so often those are things that, kind of get pushed the other way, or like emphasizing internal motivation, and like absolutely having internal motivation and kind of recognizing the stuff that really, keeps you consistent and all of that, I think that matters. And I have a video on, especially recently, some of my internal motivation as well. But I think that the dismissal of external motivation and even like the desire for fame and popularity and all that kind of stuff is a disservice to and contradicts like the personality of good athletes. And I have been kind of front and center oftentimes, especially like stories, talking about kind of the idea that athletes should not be humble, and that kind of an asking athletes, or being a celebrated thing for athletes to be humble, is just not, I don't know, it feels like more of an indictment of the person saying it rather than something that actually cultivates good athleticism. And I think kind of the core of this is things that cultivate like self-belief and confidence and like aggression a lot of times within, certain sports are usually very, very positive things. I recently watched the first season, at least, of the Netflix documentary Sprint. Noah Lyles is centered. It's framed around him very, very often as kind of the main character, and like rightfully so. I mean, the dude is a character, and he's loud, and he talks shit to other competitors, and just like he's a personality. And the dude is the main character of a Netflix documentary, and I think he won the 200 this year in the Olympics, or he won the 100 and then didn't win the 200 because he had COVID. So anyway, an Olympic gold medalist, so an incredible athlete that is super cocky and talks a lot of shit, and has that strong self-belief and continues to reinforce it to himself. And I think that can show up within powerlifting in a lot of ways. We as powerlifters, I think, very often have kind of, structured block flows, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever, within our programming. And I think so often the coaches in general tend to emphasize this idea that you have to stay in the pocket, or you have to just continue to just grind and all that, and like the fun, the like sending it at the end of blocks and all of that, or it's kind of randomly at times, is a bad thing. And I do generally believe that like most of that is true, but that if we're saying those things in a way that takes away athletes' ability to be themselves and to be confident and to like really create those things that we see with Noah Lyles, and just this like huge self-determination, like one-track mind, like total vision of success, that's a big problem. And I think a lot of this stuff, I think, has actually felt a little bit more powerful for me recently, particularly a couple of the younger athletes that I'm coaching. And I talked about Angelina Martinez in my last video on deadlifts. She just did a triple with 220 kilos paused on deadlift as a 63 kilo 24-year-old female. So, incredible stuff. But she's somebody who just like is constantly like visualizing, looking for more, and has this like total vision of what success can be for her. And I think the other one that many people are starting to know is Jack Reynolds, 17-year-old. Now he's a 93 kilo lifter, won 83s as a sub junior, and just like cannot stop getting better. And he is probably the strongest example that I have of this stuff, like, immediately right now. But I recognize so much of what I see in him, kind of an emotion that I used to have, and that I want to be able to cultivate so much more. And that's just like this blind confidence that the guy can do anything, and consistently shocks me. Like just this last, we'll call it the last 2 weeks of training. As a sub junior, 17 years old, 93, squatted 310 kilos. He bench pressed 215 kilos and deadlifted 335 kilos, and he almost benched 220 kilos. Just incredible numbers. And my experience with Jack has basically been this. The dude from day one, probably from day one, I didn't know him all that well, and he wasn't the lifter he is now. I was preaching a lot of these things, right? Is like process, and set up good training and do all that. And like that is absolutely true. And I'll talk specifics, I guess, in a little bit. But, create your process and execute good training. But Jack took that stuff and like made it his own and ran with it. And he found the stuff that made him feel good. And he knows how he wants to move. I mean, we have those conversations. But he has every single block set goals that like when he tells me, and even like goals for meets and stuff oftentimes sound like ridiculous at times to me, but can't stop proving himself right is really what it comes down to. And so, like my role, I think with a lifter like that is to continue to emphasize like, okay, well, let's just make sure we set it up. Let's make good choices. But it feels to me, and I'm increasing my confidence with this emotion, that it would be an incredibly bad choice for me to tell Jack to stop. For me to watch Jack squat, 300 last block, 310 this block, and just like continue to crush it, and me tell him, you know what, I don't think that all the success that you're having is a good thing for you. And that like now all the recognition that you're getting, the external motivation of Instagram followers and having like your favorite lifters comment on your videos and people hyping you up and having expectations and like all of those external things that sometimes are criticized for being like ego related, that people are making choices in their training so that they have Instagram followers. My argument here is that like that is directly impacting some of these younger lifters, but we'll just use Jack as the example, that the kind of the tangible outcome of Jack improving is hype and like him feeling recognized and like rewarded from the work that he's putting in. And that cycle continues to cultivate self-belief. And that like that aggression and excitement and investment in training is creating good progress. And if we're in this position that we say like you shouldn't be YOLOing, you shouldn't be like sending it, the dude's the strongest, sub junior, like once in a generation kind of talent. And that stuff I think is his confidence, his motivation. That's what's creating it. That's what's creating Noah Lyles. Like those kind of things are things that we have to cultivate in athletes. And there's absolutely personality stuff within that, that some athletes can take it too far and force training just in places that aren't there. But what Jack does well, and that what I think the point of all of this is that every block that we do, ideally when we're in normal training flow, every block that we do, we should be doing our absolute best to visualize where we want the end of the block to be. And if we start off the block with good quality movement and solid loads and things that help us create that rhythm that has proven to be successful through multiple blocks, we can set those goals like squatting 700 pounds as a junior or whatever, that seem crazy, right? That when Jack tells me those numbers, I'm like, we'll see. Like, I can't tell the guy no because he continues to prove it. And that if I were to say, that seems like it's a kind of a YOLO for you, that those little voices of like negativity, it probably works against him. And so if you're an athlete, I think that the absolute best thing that you can do is be cocky and believe in yourself, and to cultivate as many opportunities to create this like positive, strong self-image of the way that you move. And it's totally, totally okay to be motivated by external success, by Instagram followers, by the objective of getting to Sheffield, by money, by the outcome literally being the more that you gain followers because of the results of your training, you get more money and success and all that. Like, those are positive things. So if you hear somebody telling you that you should not be as aggressive, or you're ego lifting and all that, I don't know. Take inventory of the way that you're creating those opportunities for yourself in normal training flow. If you're sending it on the first week of your block, if you're forcing things, if you're not in a position that your lifts are feeling better and you have a good training flow, sure, there's things that need to be addressed there. But if you are in a good rhythm with things, I think that the best thing that you can do is maybe ego lift a little bit more, and to set your sights on numbers that maybe scare you a little bit, or look scary, or that may actually be a little like reckless on paper. And I've done this a little bit more recently. That I have, as I've been getting healthier, have kind of like, prodded people on Instagram, set polls and talk shit to the people who voted against me. And I actually, like, even within those injuries and blocks that weren't all that good, like, basically matched every one of my goals, surprisingly so. They're like, that external motivation of essentially potential embarrassment online, and my kind of motivation to prove people wrong from shit talking, made some really good training. And so now I'm getting healthier. I'm starting to feel a lot better. Right? I'm in a lot more control of things, and I'm starting to hopefully shift away from the rehab kind of phases. And I'm definitely at the point that like all of this matters a lot to me. That I basically feel like the barrier at this point is I have to have confidence. I have to have like a mental image of how I want to move. And I have to stop holding back kind of mentally because of trepidation, or because like I don't trust my movement. And me actually cultivating that image and self-confidence, and looking for hype, right? Like, me looking for opportunities to put a lot of weight on the bar, to get people excited online, to get people excited about my next competition, that historically has been a humongous driver for me. And when I was a younger athlete and kind of up and coming and trying to make a name for myself, I was always looking for opportunities and blocks to end a block that would, like, I would say it out loud, like, I'm going to get so many followers, I'm going to get posted on King of the Lifts, and like, those kind of things helped turn me into the person that I am right here. And so, I think that there's a balance to be had, but self-belief and confidence and external motivation are real, and giving yourself opportunities for it, I think is a big deal. So, anyway, as far as, personal stuff, I'm on the second week of, I guess I'm two blocks out from nationals. I'll have this free program available online. I'll probably throw some B-roll over this stuff I'm doing, or just this talking part of the video. But the back half of my week, I'll hopefully film as a little bit more vlog style. And I'm going to try to lean into this. And I'm going to try to approach every session that I do with aggression and confidence, and trying to make those weights move fast, and trying to get footage to look good on Instagram, look good on YouTube, and like those kind of things I think are kind of the next step for me being able to really be successful and like be the athlete that I want to be again, that I have been, and that I know I can be. So anyway, hopefully, I'll come back and talk about the success that I just had within being aggressive with my movements and confidence and excitement and mental image, imagery, self-visualization, all that stuff. So give it a shot, try it, be aggressive in your sessions, look for big numbers, cultivate that self-belief, and I bet it'll go a long way. So anyway, yeah, we'll we'll see you after the back half of this training week and see where it goes and kind of talk about the future. But like I said, this program is available online. Hopefully it looks similar to what I'm actually doing. I wing it a little bit at times. But maybe that's an extension of all of this. So we'll see you after the heavier stuff. All right. So hopefully I made that the training week edit. I'm just gonna put the last 3 days, my primary deadlift, bench press, and squat days in there for the training stuff. And I wanted to I think contextualize the training that I just did kind of within the context of this video, you know, and the ego lifting stuff, because I ended up having to manage some of the lower body stuff. Again, it's getting so much better, but still, you know, I take some management. I had a much better squat day earlier in the week than I did later in the week. 240 for like a very easy pause set of 6, and then some very good deadlifting. And, you know, I think that stuff likely gave me, I always call it recoil. You know, it's like whenever we have like a very good kind of explosive session, sometimes when we're hurt, you know, there's some recoil, some blowback from that kind of stuff. And I think I experienced a little bit of that throughout the week. So primary deadlift day intention was to do a top set of 5, then at least one couple singles above that, then go back down for some light reps. But I just knew after my top set of 5, which was pretty good, I'm getting better with rotation and all that I was going to have some good kind of grabby stuff in the hamstring. So I went back down and they got like a whole lot faster, right? Kind of created an opportunity for it and was able to work back up and pull a pretty comfortable 290, which, you know, is not like super strong for me. But like, you know, it's feeling better. My position is getting a whole lot better and feel like I'm doing a good job of creating opportunities. But even that session was one that, you know, like trying to go in like with some enthusiasm and energy and like looking for some of these big numbers. Bench press was fine. Yeah, I haven't been bench pressing all that great for a bit. I mean, 180 was kind of hard. Hopefully getting some more sizable jumps there too. You know, I'd love to be hitting 190 regularly, so whatever. And then the squatting today was probably the most annoying of the sessions. And my, I guess, overall read on the thing is the more I'm able to load the adductor and kind of load that area, it's a tendinopathy, right? That if you had a knee pain and you were starting to be able to load your quad a good bit more and you're having some good sessions and then like, you know, really start loading it, like it would be normal to have that pain kind of flare up a little bit. I'm moving so much better. Like just all the stuff that I want to see is just there. And I think within the context of this video, the ego lifting, I think that this week is a good example that we're not always going to be able to go in there and just send it. But still, I still have next week. I have goals. I'm like setting all these goals as I'm getting better, but I have to do a good job of creating that process to earn those things. And so this week, week 2 of my block, I got some feedback, right? I got some feedback from my body that I can't just go in there and send it, but I'm getting close. And visualization is still kind of the main thing, and confidence. And that I am visualizing a lot of success, like movement wise, stuff is getting so much better. And it's like, it's there. And that's essentially the core of this. That if I were to go into the rest of the block next week and basically just say like, well, I hit these numbers, like I'm absolutely going to do more no matter what, just going to ignore discomfort, I'm just going for it, that would be a problem. I have to look at I hate calling it data, because I have to look at the context of what has happened within this block and previous blocks and all of that. And I'm in a position that stuff is getting better and I just need to keep stacking these good weeks. But I'm going to keep trying to visualize the success and be able to create some runway to some really, really good stuff while being able to stack that. So anyway, I mean, I think that's kind of the summary of everything that I wanted to say here. Training is getting a whole lot better. Should be looking at hitting some good numbers, still on track for a good total at nationals is really the intent. So hopefully that keeps building. By the way, I probably said it earlier in the video, this program is available for free on my website. I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm tinkering with stuff right now. So whatever you see is probably pretty close to the intention of kind of what I'm trying to get. But, you know, obviously I'm rolling with the punches and all of that there overall. So anyway, I got a couple other coaching videos here coming up, you know, formal coaching videos and all that take a little bit more work coming up here pretty soon. So if you do want those, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you did like this video, give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.